Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Sibylline Oracles, Book 3, verses 265 through 544.
Yeah, struggle. It's real.
Little bit of a struggle.
These titles are just getting ridiculous.
Listen, okay, it's not my fault that there are like a whole bunch of books of the Sibylline Oracles.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Why'd you do that, Lawrence?
You know what? On second thought, I'm sorry.
You should be.
I'm sorry to everyone living today, and I'm sorry to everyone living in the past when I did this.
And in the future.
In the future, yeah.
Yep.
My bad.
So we have the Old Testament Apocrypha.
Yes, we do. Edited by James H. Charlesworth. This is Volume 1, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments, and this section is written by J.J. Collins.
Yep.
Very well-known apocalyptic scholar, I guess.
Not the inventor of the Collins glass.
The what?
Huh?
It's a kind of glass.
Like
drinking glass.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. You doing okay there, Ruben?
Yeah.
Been drinking a little too much?
No.
More than me?
No, probably not. I don't know.
I mean, I just wouldn't, randomly talk about a certain kind of drinking glass.
Well,
He's kind of been obsessing over that.
I mean, I know
What
that he's
about,
been getting into
what's,
mixology and stuff.
what's another Collins thing? There's Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins. There you go.
That's it.
That's
the
about
only other
it.
Collins. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Speaking of Collins, I am very close to completing the Suffering Servant video.
Wow, I don't know how that relates.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is it because Collins wrote about
Suffering.
No, not really.
Is it because Collins
Was a
suffers?
No, it had nothing to do with it. But I did want to say that I'm getting very close with that. There was one piece of the puzzle that I had left, and I think I finally cracked it. And then,
Well, you know why?
what?
Because you've never had an inspired reading of the Bible.
Yeah, my bad. So I think I finally got that one last piece, or I should say I thought I had that one last piece. And then I started to question myself as to the anonymity of the servant, because in the servant songs, the servant is anonymous, right? Mm-hmm. But I never really, in all the notes I took, I was never why is the servant anonymous?
Well,
So I had to go back and pour over things again and read some more papers. So I'm getting very close to that, but that's the one last thing I think I have to do.
So why is the servant anonymous?
Essentially, you can think of it as an idealistic prophet or an idealistic servant.
So the form of the servant.
Essentially, yeah, the form of the servant, sure. So that is essentially what the suffering servant or the servant songs describe. Would be an ideal servant. So I think that is, and one of the authors I was reading over, he made this point about, do you remember how the beloved disciple was anonymous?
Yes.
Yeah. So in this, he kind of relates the two, not just by not just by motifs, but also by language as well, that's used for both the suffering servant and the beloved disciple. So he kind of parallels them, and he understood why the beloved disciple was anonymous, but then he kind of goes back to the suffering servant. He's like, okay, so is it the same reason then that the servant is anonymous? So I think he does make a good case, but it's also kind of weird doing that retroactive thing where you look to the future to learn stuff about the past.
Ex Eventu?
No, not exactly Ex Eventu.
No, not exactly.
Because he was trying to find the reason for thing X that happened in the past, and for that he had to study thing Y, which happened much later. So, which you could say is based on it, but just because it's based on it,
it's a similar literary theme.
Yeah. But so if just because the author of John may have viewed it that way and even related the two, that doesn't mean that was in the mind of Deutero-Isaiah.
Well, the mind of Deutero-Isaiah is not accessible.
You're right. You're right. It's not.
So you work with what you have.
Yes. Unfortunately, you work with what you have, and I don't have much.
And what you have is not a prophecy about a Messiah.
No, that's exactly. Although there were definitely messianic interpretations before the time of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to go over. There's messianic and non-messianic, and then there is communal and individual. Just like a whole bunch of different interpretations, and kind of for good reason, because it's meant to be ambiguous.
Well, we all look forward to you completing that so that you can start working on the Patriarchs video.
Yeah, the Patriarchs one. That's also going to take a long time. Oh, man.
Hopefully less than 2 years.
Yeah, let's hope.
You've been talking about...
The bulk of your work's probably been done now, too.
I wouldn't say...
I think you've been talking about this Isaiah Suffering Servant video since before we covered Isaiah.
Have I?
I think so.
I don't remember if I have, but
there's
I knew
history online we could look thugh if we care.
I know I definitely wanted to listen, Justin. I want to hear it from you. So
since 2020.
Thank you, Justin, for the since 2020.
Either way, I have gotten a lot of work done on it recently. I don't know if I'd say more than I did beforehand, but definitely a lot has been done in like this past 2 weeks, I'd say, right? Yeah. So either way, it is a big subject.
Yep.
So there was a lot of stuff to go through, but you know what else is big?
Don't
Sibylline Oracles.
Okay. Yeah.
So how about we hop into it? And we got interesting stuff coming up, like Gog and Magog.
You know what else is big? Chungus.
That is true. Chungus is big.
Mm-hmm. So, we're entering into a section here titled Exile and Restoration. So prepare yourself.
It's not like we haven't heard of that before.
No. Not even once. It's never happened. And I'll probably hand it off to you somewhere around when they start talking about Alexander the Great.
Sounds good.
Because we're covering more today than I think last time.
Probably a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah. But on these also, evil will come, and they will not escape pestilence, and you will surely flee, leaving the very beautiful temple, since it is your fate to leave the holy plain. You will be led to the Assyrians, and you will see innocent children and wives in slavery to hostile men. Here the Assyrians and Babylonians are regarded as equivalent.
Yeah, because even though they did happen so the Assyrian invasion, and I guess they would have happened almost 200 years apart, right? So, or nearing that 150, 200 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So and of course they still had those cultural memories and texts relating to Assyria and to Babylon, and they were spoken of in very similar terms.
Right.
Because, they both fucked over Israel. So, yeah, I could see that. In the same way, they kind of did that with Rome as well in Revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kept calling it Babylon.
All means of livelihood and wealth will perish. The whole earth will be filled with you, and every sea. Everyone will be offended at your customs. Your whole land will be desolate. Your fortified altar and temple of the great God and long walls will all fall to the ground because you did not obey in your heart the holy law of the immortal God, but in error you worshipped unseemly idols, and you did not fear the immortal begetter of gods and of all men, but were not willing to honor him.
I like that. Begetter of gods.
Yes,
So again, you can kind of see the influence of the Hellenized world.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you honored the idols of mortals. Therefore, for 7 decades of times, all your fruitful earth and the wonders of the temple will be desolate, but a good end and a very great glory await you, as immortal God decreed for you. But you remain, trusting in the holy laws of the great God, whenever he may lift your wearied knee upright to the light. And then
Your weird knee?
you're
Wearied.
Weary. Oh my God.
wearied.
Yeah,
I heard
not
of-
your normal knee.
A weird
your
knee.
Weird knee.
Okay.
You've got 2 of them, so pick the
What
weirder
the weird one, yeah.
of the 2. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. And then heavenly God will send a king and will judge each man in blood in the gleam of fire. Probably Cyrus is meant.
Yeah, that would make sense. Cyrus did save them all, and they were really a fan of Cyrus.
Oh, yeah.
So you know,
Well,
they had
he did
those-
right by them.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. So and it is interesting that, you know, he is called Messiah
Mhm.
in the Old Testament.
Yeah. There's a certain royal tribe whose race will never stumble. They mean the Jews. This too, as time pursues its cyclic course, will reign, and it will begin to raise up a new temple of God. All the kings of the Persians will bring their aid, gold and bronze and much wrought iron, for God himself will give a holy dream by night, and then indeed the temple will again be as it was before.
Holy Dream by Night. Is there
Joel 3:1.
Joel 3:1?
Yeah,
Okay.
check that out. Joel, kind of an obscure little book.
Yeah. I may have just passed it. I did. Okay. So that's how short it is. Let's see. Joel 3:1. Yeah. For behold, in those days and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I will enter into judgment with them there on behalf of my people and my heritage Israel. Nothing about a dream here. Unfortunate.
Strange. Very strange.
Or hold on. So it might be. Oh, okay. So 3:1. So this is interesting. It might be referring to the verse prior to it. And it shall come to pass that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there shall be those who escape, as the Lord has said. And among the survivors shall be those whom the Lord calls. So that might be a reference to the dream thing, right? Because that is a method of calling through a vision, right?
Yeah. But
So that might be what they're referring to. Otherwise, I'm not sure. But restoring the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, yeah.
yeah. Woes.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Whoa.
Sorry, this is actually my bad. So what we should be referencing is chapter 3:1 in the Hebrew, because I guess in the Septuagint version, this is different. Remember how in the Greek or the Hebrew texts, the chapters are often mixed up a little bit. Like some chapters start later than others, and so in the Hebrew, chapter 3 starts at verse 28 of chapter 2. So, and that says, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. You know what? I guess that was okay.
Yeah, that is
I was on that anyways. But textually speaking, I was wrong there.
Yeah. Now we have woes against various nations.
I love woes against various nations.
Whoa!
Mm-hmm. When indeed my spirit ceased the inspired hymn, and I entreated the great begetter that I might have respite from compulsion, the word of the great God rose again in my breast and bade me prophecy concerning every land and remind kings of the things that are to be. God prompted me to say this first. How many grievous woes the immortal devised for Babylon, because it destroyed his great temple. Woe to you, Babylon, and the race of Assyrian men. At some time a rushing destruction will come upon the whole land of sinners, and a tumult will destroy the entire land of mortals, and an affliction of the great God, leader of hymns.
Yeah, so this is, in keeping with all the Old Testament stuff, with all the Old Testament woes.
Yes.
Including the part, although it's not really specifically said here, but you know how a broad message in the Old Testament was that because Israel sinned, God sent the Babylonians upon them.
Right.
And
it's stated many times.
Yeah, and then eventually, once they were like, okay, we've suffered enough, God's like, okay, fuck you, Babylon. You've been messing with them for too long. Like, even though they were literally an instrument for God's destruction. So this doesn't say that part specifically, where they were sent to do this thing, but it does include the fact that God will save them from the Babylonians.
Right. For a heavenly eternal destruction will come upon you, Babylon, one day from above and on the children of wrath, but it will come down upon you from heaven, from the holy ones. Then you will be as you were before, as if you had not been. Then you will be filled with blood, as you yourself formerly poured out the blood of good men and righteous men, whose blood even now cries out to high heaven. A great affliction will come upon you, Egypt, against your homes, a terrible one which you never expected to come upon you, for a sword will pass through your midst, and a scattering and death and famine will lay hold of you in the 7th generation of kings, and then you will rest.
Is this supposed to be the reference to Alexander?
No, this is probably a reference to the civil war between Ptolemy the 6th, Philometor, and Ptolemy the 8th, Eurigedes.
Oh, yeah,
second.
yeah, that's right. We're going over that in the introductory episode for this.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So very different. Very different. Woe to you, land of Gog and Magog, situated in the midst of Ethiopian rivers. The association of Gog and Magog with Ethiopia is probably due to the mention of Cush in Ezekiel 38:5. Pull up Ezekiel.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? So yeah, Ezekiel 38:5. Okay. Yeah, Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
and we didn't really get that many details about
yeah,
Gog and
because
Magog.
right before that, like the whole chapter is a prophecy against Gog.
But we do know that according to some people, it's Russia.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That is hilarious.
It's like a very American right-wing thing to believe
sounds like
that Russia is Gog and Magog.
Wow, that's really bad. a country that not only didn't even exist yet, but its progenitor didn't even exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Like I think it was Rus before. Rus.
Right.
Yeah. So what?
We'll see. It was prophecy, Lawrence.
Prophecy, of course.
Mm-hmm. How great an effusion of blood you will receive, and you will be called a habitation of judgment among men, and your dewy earth will drink black blood. Woe to you, Libya. Libyans are all still listed in Ezekiel 38:5 among those who follow Gog. Woe to sea and land, daughters of the west, how you have come to a bitter day. You'll also,
I suppose that would parallel the daughters of Zion, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You will also come pursued by a hard struggle, terrible and hard. There will again be a terrible judgment, and you will all of necessity go to destruction, because you have utterly destroyed the great house of the immortal and have chewed it terribly with iron teeth.
I like how we get the reference to not liking iron.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is apparently a reference to Daniel 7:7.
Daniel 7:7. I mean, I would have related it more to that part in Joshua, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. But I can check Daniel 7:7. So yeah, here we go. Daniel 7:7. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Mhm. Therefore, you will see your land full of corpses, some slain by war and every assault of the demon of famine and pestilence, others by barbarous spirited enemies.
So famine and pestilence are often, put together.
Yes.
Very often in apocalyptic texts.
Well, here we have all four horsemen: war, famine, pestilence, and of course death.
Right, yeah.
All your land will be desolate, and your cities desolate ruins. But in the west, or the west,
The West.
a star will shine, which they call cometes. Lanchester relates this comet to that mentioned in Seneca's Naturales Questiones 715.
That's
Well, I'm assuming it'd
comet.
be.
How do you spell the comet's name?
I'm assuming
Cometes.
I know how to spell.
I'm assuming it's just they have it as like a Greek transliteration, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But Lanchester relates this comet to that mention in Seneca's Naturales Questiones 715 as occurring at the death of Demetrius, king of Syria. But astral phenomena are a favorite topic of such oracles.
So here's something kind of cool. So as a substantive, it would be a comet, but it can also mean wearing long hair or just long-haired.
Well, this is a star which shines.
Okay.
They call comet. A sign to mortals of sword, famine, and death, destruction of leaders, and of great illustrious men. There will again be very great signs among men. The deep flowing Tanais will leave Lake Mayotis.
Yeah, I remember Tanais coming up. Was it in the Sibylline Oracles that Tanais popped up?
Probably. Tanais is the river Don.
Okay.
Lake Mayotis is the Sea of Azov.
Okay, gotcha. But I think I remember that popping up in at least some of our readings.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Or maybe I read it from one of the, I feel like it may have been one of the Homeric hymns.
I wouldn't know. There's a lot of Homeric hymns.
There are. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. But there's, I guess it would be weird to have it in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely remember Tanais coming up.
Yeah. And there will be a track of a fertile furrow down the deep stream, while the immense current occupies a narrow channel. There will be chasms and yawning pits. Many cities will fall with their inhabitants. A few of these places that are listed, Maros, Sagra, and Mariopia, are unknown. The others are located in Asia Minor and Greece.
Okay.
So, many cities will fall with their inhabitants. In Asia, Iasus, Sebren, Pandonia, Colophon, Ephesus, Nicaea, Antioch, Tanagra, Sinope, Smyrna.
Wow, these are a lot of big names too.
Maros, prosperous Gaza, Hierapolis,
Holy shit! Yeah.
Astipalea.
So this is going like all around the Mediterranean here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you got Antioch, Nicaea, Smyrna. Like you're kind of going around slowly around the Mediterranean. You know, from like Greece to through Israel to Egypt.
Of Europe, famous Syagra, royal Mariopia, Antigone, or Antigone, Magnesia, divine Mycenae.
Wow.
Know then that the destructive race of Egypt is near destruction, and then for the Alexandrians, the year which is past will be the better one.
There we go. Okay.
Yes. And now I will hand it off to you. where
Great.
It says an oracle against Rome. Hey, if you guys are enjoying the stream so far, you know what to do.
You drop a like and you subscribe if you haven't. Viewer engagement helps the show. It'll pop up more in suggested feeds.
And we have a nice amount for Friday.
Yeah, we do.
Usually we have like 0 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually we don't have a lot of people on the Friday shows. So it's great that you guys are here. Feel free to harass Jay Dollarsign in the chat. He should be cool with that, probably.
That's his favorite thing.
Yeah, that's his favorite thing. So, feel free to do that. Anyways, an oracle against Rome.
Those are very uncommon.
I mean, in terms of Old Testament literature, yeah, pretty uncommon.
Mhm.
However much wealth Rome received from tribute-bearing Asia, Asia will receive 3 times that much gain. 3 times that much again from Rome, and will repay her deadly arrogance to her. Whatever number from Asia served the house of Italians, 20 times that number of Italians will be serfs in Asia, in poverty, and they will be liable to pay 10,000-fold. That is quite a bit.
Yeah.
O luxurious golden offspring of Latium Rome, virgin, often drunken with your weddings with many suitors. As a slave, you will be wed without decorum. So this is kind of pulling from, definitely from Greek myths here.
Mhm.
Probably close to, I would think Helen and her suitors, right? That's what I would think.
Yeah, probably.
Because I don't actually know about the whole drunken thing. There might be a reference to that somewhere here. Possibly a response to Roman taunts at the multiple weddings of Cleopatra. Okay, that would also make sense. So, yeah, that would probably make more sense there because of the drunkenness. But the fact that you have suitors and the fact that you have, a wedding as a slave, the way women were treated then as like a prize, it was basically a slave kind of thing.
Well, you might also just interpret it nationally, that they're beholden to all of these multinational commitments that they make, right? And that is possibly interpreted as a form of slavery to do the actions that are necessary for other parts of the world rather than Rome itself, at least capital Rome.
All right. I think an attack on Cleopatra would actually make more sense.
Yeah.
There. Anyways, I did just see some links there to Greek myth though. Anyways, often the mistress will cut your delicate hair, and dispensing judgment will cast you from heaven to earth. Fucking rude.
Mm-hmm. So this is a reference to many mythological elements. Obviously, you have Samson, whose hair is cut.
Right. Yeah.
But there's also in Norse mythology, there's I think it was like Thor's wife or something. Loki cuts her hair.
Oh, I feel like I remember that coming up somewhere.
Yeah.
Did I cover that in my Norse mythology video and totally forget about it?
I have no idea.
I might have.
Well, it's where Mjolnir comes from, because they all go on quests to get these magic items, and one of them is golden hair that
Oh yeah.
literally gold. but
Right.
It grows like hair.
Okay. That sounds super familiar. Anyways, we'll raise. Yeah, but from earth will again raise you up to heaven, because mortals are involved in a wretched and unjust life. Samos will be sand, and Delos will become inconspicuous. Rome will be a street. All the oracles will be fulfilled. That is definitely, some doom and gloom right there.
Yeah.
And these are some pretty big, pretty important islands too, Samos and Delos.
It's a lot like, who was that minor prophet whose like whole thing was like a series of woes, and there was like this big woe against Tyre, and
Oh,
you remember what I mean.
I know what you mean. I don't remember who it was though, because like those minor prophets, a lot of them do kind of meld together. You kind of forget.
Yeah.
But I do remember us going over that. I forget which one it was. Smyrna will perish, and there will be no mention of it. There will be an avenger, but for the bad counsels and the wickedness of its leaders. Serene peace will return to the Asian land, and Europe will then be blessed. The air will be good for pasture for many years, bracing, free from storms and hail, producing everything, including birds and creeping beasts of the earth. Oh, like another Genesis thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing another Genesis thing.
Well, we need the new Eden.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So there
in
has
order
to
to
be
get
a
the new
Genesis.
Earth. Yeah. Oh, most blessed, whatever man or woman will live to what time, there will be report of the blessed ones as among country folk. For all good order and righteous dealing will come upon men from starry heaven, and with it temperate concord. Best of all things for men and love, faithfulness and friendship, even from strangers. Bad government, blame, envy, anger, folly, poverty will flee from men, and constraint will flee, and murder, accursed strife, and grievous quarrels, night robberies, and every evil in those days.
Wow, things are going to be a lot better.
A lot better, it sounds like.
No more bad government.
Yeah, no bad government, blame, envy, whole lot of stuff. No murder, no robberies. Good stuff. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder when that's going to happen.
Any day now.
Any day now. Here's an oracle on Alexander the Great.
Mm-hmm.
But Macedonia will bring forth a great affliction for Asia, and a very great grief for Europe will spring up from the race of Kronos, the progeny of bastards and slaves. Alexander claimed to be, a son of Zeus Ammon after his visit to the shrine of the god in Egypt.
That he did.
In 332 BCE. Okay.
But
so
we should also keep in mind that in this oracle, they've already talked about Kronos and the line.
Yeah.
So the author, I guess, really believes they existed.
right, but it sounds like they were, I guess, just the way it sounded initially when it was
They're
brought
not
up.
immortal gods.
Yeah, they were like kings, I guess, or just titans, right?
Yeah. Or they could be gods, but not the immortal gods.
Right. They're not that high up there. They were just very early rulers of some sort.
Yeah.
She will conquer even the fortified city of Babylon, having been called mistress of every land which the sun beholds. She will perish.
Behold.
Right. Beholds. Just
Behold.
totally passed that one by. She will perish by evil fate, leaving a name among her much wandering posterity. Now here's an oracle on Alexander and his descendants.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think it was after the fall, after Alexander died, his kingdom broke up into 4 pieces, right?
Mhm.
And they were all kind of fighting with each other about who gets the rest of it.
Yeah, a lot of infighting.
Yeah. So that essentially led to the whole fall of that empire. Also, at a certain time, there will come to the prosperous land of Asia a faithless man clad with a purple cloak on his shoulders. Interesting. Okay, so this faithless man. This reference is widely disputed, but should be taken to refer to Alexander. Okay, that's kind of strange, but I guess we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I guess he is technically faithless for them, right?
I guess.
And the purple designation might be just a royal thing, and he certainly was royalty. And these other things coming up here also describe him: savage, stranger to justice, fiery. For a thunderbolt beforehand raised him up a man. But all Asia will bear an evil yoke, and the earth deluged will imbibe much gore. But even so, Hades will attend him in everything he knows it not. Those whose race he wishes to destroy, by them will his own race be destroyed. Yet, leaving one root, which the destroyer will cut off, from 10 horns he will sprout another shoot on the side. He will smite a warrior and begetter of a royal race. And he himself will perish at the hands of his descendants in a conspiracy of war. And then the horn growing on the side will reign. So that sounds like a hold up here. A conspiracy, I guess. Is that a Caesar thing? It's definitely a Rome thing, it sounds like.
It does.
So
I mean, just geographically, a horn growing on the side is like reminiscent of
Daniel.
Yeah. Well, it's also reminiscent of the Italian peninsula.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Whoa, it's a horn.
The thing is, I've heard a lot of arguments like that, like how the Nile is like, it's very long, right? But then the delta kind of spreads out.
Mm-hmm.
One scholar suggested that was why snakes were so important, because it kind of looks like a snake. And I don't know. I was never really convinced by arguments like that.
You don't think there can be metaphors about geography?
No, I think that there can be metaphors about geography. But it just, I don't know. It just seems so flimsy to me. I guess that's just my own incredulity, right? But still, I think the fact that we have already, because we have plenty of references to horns, for example, in a whole bunch of literature. We don't really try to tie that in with some geography. It
depends on what kind of horn they're talking about too. They could be talking about war horns. They could be talking about car horns. They could be talking about
sheep,
ram horns.
Probably closer to that. But anyway, so the reference to the 10 horns and the 11th that sprouts on the side is a Jewish addition to this oracle, based, of course, on Daniel 7. The identity of the final shoot is open to a wide variety of interpretations. Alexander Bolus is perhaps the most probable one. This seems like a whole bunch of stuff that is also in Revelation. So, because once we get there, we have this this dragon with we have the beast with a whole bunch of heads, right? And
it's gonna be a dragon in the KJV.
It is probably.
Yep.
And then there's gonna be you have the head cut off, but then like one of the heads is said to come back.
Oh, so it's just the Heracles story.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess, but it doesn't go the same way, obviously.
You're right.
Not in quite the same way. Because I guess, okay, so the thing is, I don't know about the original Heracles story. In that one, did it act the same way as it did in the movie? In in the Hercules movie?
I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't think it would, but I'm just asking. So it is very similar to. It sounds a lot like Revelation kind of thing, which is why I was thinking Rome specifically here. But either way, and then so we were going to okay. I'll finish. That's a long section actually. I mean, I can do this section and then hand off the rest to you. Okay. Prophecies of various catastrophes from the Erythraean Sibyl.
I'm going to hop to the restroom while you go over some catastrophes.
I love catastrophes.
Yay.
There will also be immediately a sign for fertile Phrygia when the abominable race of Rhea, a perennial shoot in the earth, flourishing with unthirsting roots, will disappear, stump and all, in a single night. So it's a single night there. Okay. Fall of Troy. Which, the thing is, it wouldn't have been called, I guess it may have been called Troy, but it could the city that is most often associated with Troy by scholars now as like a historical Troy, if anyone's interested in this, is Hisarlik. So now the kind of thing described in the Iliad, for example, wouldn't be able to happen because of the geography. But geographical studies have shown that in those times, it very easily could have been, because the water kind of was in that section. It would have been kind of further inland, so it could have easily been that city. So if you're interested in that, Hisarlik is what you could look up. Either way, will disappear, stump and all, in a single night in the city of the earth-quaking land shaker, complete with his inhabitants. That is Poseidon, which they will at one time call by the name Dorleon. And this seems... Okay, so Dorleon is in Phrygia on the Thymbris. Okay. Will at one time call by the name Dorleon of Ancient, much lamented dark Phrygia. That time is by name, that time is by name Earthshaker. It will scatter the hiding places of the earth and undo walls. The signs will be a beginning, not of good, but of evil. It will have princes who are knowledgeable in the wars of all tribes, producing native descendants of Aeneas. Of course, that's another... Aeneas is kind of like a secondary character in the Greek literature, but then you get to the Aeneid, which is basically all about Aeneas and the Romans. Descendants of Aeneas, kindred blood. But thereafter, you will be a prey to men who are lovers. Ilium, I pity you, for a fury will sprout in Sparta. So they are listing a whole lot of places that seem very...
Good alliteration. A fury will sprout in Sparta.
I guess. So they're listing a lot of places here that are not only like huge, like very popular cities. Like a lot of these have like huge temples as well.
Right. They're idolaters.
Right. Yeah. For a fury will sprout in Sparta, a very beautiful, famous, most excellent shoot, leaving the widespread wave of Asia and Europe. It will bring lamentations and labors and groans, and afflict them, especially on you, but your fame will be ageless for future generations. There will also be, again, a certain false writer, an old man. Let's see who this old man is. So Homer, just Homer,
Who's not likely one person.
Right, yeah. False writer, an old man of falsified fatherland. So yeah, just fuck you, Homer. So Lactantius mentions that the Erythraean Sibyl prophesied that Homer would write falsehoods. All right, then.
Well, one,
I mean, yeah, of course they would view it as falsehoods.
not historical Homer.
Right. But like at this point in time,
there is some evidence that there was a Troy.
we just talked about that.
Oh,
Yeah, about Hisarlik, the historical Troy,
when?
when you were in the bathroom.
Oh, well, we didn't talk about it.
All right. Well, I talked about it. Maybe you should have been listening from all the way over there in the bathroom.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
I was doing important things,
That is true. The light will go out in his eyes. He will have much intelligence and will have speech well proportioned to his thoughts, blended under two names. He will call himself a Chian and write the story of Ilium, not truthfully, but cleverly, for he will master my words and meters. Oh, so she's just like, he's going to copy me. Let's see more about this.
Wait.
I'm waiting.
The Sibyl is saying that this fucking Homer guy keeps stealing my verses. Right? Is that what is being communicated here?
Looks like it. For he'll master my words and meters.
What a strange complaint to make about an ahistorical figure.
This is very strange. Yeah, I agree. He'll be the first to unfold my books with his hands, but he will especially embellish the helmeted men of war, Hector, son of Priam, and Achilles, son of Peleus, and the others, as many as cared for warlike deeds. He will also make gods to stand by these, writing falsely in every way about empty-headed men. It will also be great glory for these to die at Ilium, but he himself will also receive appropriate recompense. For Lycia also the race of Locris will engender many evils. Chalcedon, to whose lot has fallen the way of the sea strait, you also will in Aetolian youth at some time come and destroy. Cyzicus, the sea, will also break off your great wealth. You, Byzantium, will love war in Asia and receive groans and blood beyond reckoning. Kragos, also lofty mountain of Lycia, water will rush from your peaks when the rock has been opened in a chasm until it stops even the prophetic sign of Potara. And now we're back to Cyzicus.
What is the prophetic sign of Potara?
Okay. So Potara had a famous oracle of Apollo.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense to talk about that while talking about Homer.
That, yeah.
Right. The whole thing's set off because of this fucking priest of Apollo.
Essentially, yeah. Let's see here. Cyzicus, inhabitant of wine-selling Propontis, the crested wave of Rhindacus will crash around you. You also, Rhodes, will indeed be free from slavery for a long time, daughter of a day, and you will have great wealth thereafter, and you will have power at sea surpassing others. But afterward, you will be a prey to lovers in beauty and wealth. You will place a terrible yoke on your neck. A Lydian earthquake will destroy the affairs of Persia, causing most dire disasters for Europe and Asia. The destructive king of the Sidonians and the battle cry of others will bring deadly destruction by sea on the Samaeans.
You know, I'm surprised, given all the mentions of Zeus and Kronos and all this other stuff, that, they don't make any mention of the gods that existed prior to the Greek pantheon, but which were added in, right? So, like Demeter, likely from Indo-European tradition. Dionysus, also likely predated the Greek myths and was adopted in by them.
I would say that probably has to do with the fact that, by the time this all would have been happening in the first century, or I guess the first centuries surrounding the turn of the millennia.
Yeah.
It would have been, it would have basically been pretty standard to just have all those gods together, and I guess they just kind of picked out the important ones for them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have references to Zeus, obviously a big one. You have references to, I guess you have in a way references to Apollo, and a whole bunch of Titans as well. Poseidon, there's a reference to that definitely.
Yeah, there is a reference to Poseidon.
Yeah, reference to Rhea.
But not Demeter, not Dionysus, which is strange because in various sources, you have references to Demeter as the mother of Zeus, and you also have references to her as a sister of Zeus.
Demeter as the mother of Zeus?
Yeah, I don't remember what it's from, but there was one thing that I read that listed her as the mother of Zeus.
Because I'm pretty sure that's... I've never read that one before. I've never seen any text suggest that Demeter was the mother of Zeus.
I either read something or saw something that made a big deal about it as evidence of the evolution of the mythology over time.
That would certainly help in that case. Yeah, I'd love to see that though. Anyways, where the hell was I? This is such a long passage. Right. The plain will sweep to the sea with the blood of perishing men. Wives with splendidly robed maidens will cry aloud their private unseemly outrage. Some for the dead, some for the sons who are perishing. A sign for Cyprus. An earthquake will destroy the ravines, and Hades will receive many souls at once. Tralles, the neighbor of Ephesus, will undo by an earthquake her well-made walls, and a people of grave-minded men. The earth will flood with boiling water. Then the earth, weighed down, will drink of it. There will be a smell of brimstone. Samos also will build royal palaces in due time.
So, volcanoes.
Okay, and wow. So Samos was conquered by the Ptolemies in the early 3rd century BCE.
Mhm.
Okay.
Also, the flooding is something God promised wouldn't happen.
Right, yeah, I can't be promising that. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. You know what's very interesting?
What's that?
We haven't had reference to Asherah.
That is true.
Yeah, like
no.
all.
Yeah, not a single one in any of the oracles so far.
That is accurate.
Or in much Apocrypha or Pseudepigrapha.
Yeah, anything. Because the closest we ever get to that would be the Shekinah? That's the closest.
Yeah, and that's not even that close.
Right, it's not even that close. We get references to
Asherah poles.
not even in
Not in the
apocryphal stuff.
Apocrypha, like in the regular literature.
No, in the regular literature, we get straight up references to Asherah, and Asherah poles. So it is.
That tradition must have been entirely stomped out.
It basically was, yeah.
By the time that this was written.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, basically after all the kingdom stuff, it doesn't really pop up, at least chronologically speaking.
I don't think in this Sibyl we've gotten a reference to Baal.
No.
I don't think we did.
It's weird because they've made so many mentions of these Greek gods.
Yeah.
But none to what actually appears in the books of the Old Testament.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I guess you would have. Well, okay, so the Shekinah, which isn't that close to Asherah, and then I guess wisdom. So you have Sophia, which also isn't that close to Asherah, but that's about as close as we get in other literature.
Yeah. I mean, there's those entities that appear in, what was it, Second Enoch, that God kills in order to make material things.
Right.
But
I'm specifically picking out Sophia and the Shekinah because they're feminine.
right.
Yeah. So anyways, and of course they both existed like with God early on.
Mhm.
So anyways here, there's gonna be an earthquake, and there's gonna be flooding and boiling water. A lot of people are gonna die. Italy, no foreign war will come to you, but native blood, much bemoaned, inexhaustible, notorious, will ravage you, shameless one. And you yourself, stretched out by the warm ashes, will kill yourself with no foresight in your breast.
Is that what happened to Rome?
I suppose. You will not be mother of good people, but nurse of wild beasts. But when a destructive man comes from Italy, then Laodicea, dashed down headlong by the wonderful waters of Lycus, beautiful town of the Carians, you will bemoan your famous parent and be silent. The Thracian, the Thracian Krabzi will rise up throughout Hamus. Chattering of teeth comes upon the Campanians. Campanians. Because of the famine which destroys cities. Cyrus, this is a different one. This isn't Cyrus. This is Cyrnus. Cyrnus, bemoaning its aged parent, and Sardinia will sink in the wave with sea children amid great storms of winter and afflictions of the holy God throughout the depths of the sea. Alas for the virgins whom Hades will wed, and unburied youths whom the deep will attend. Alas for infant children floating in the sea in great wealth. The blessed land of Mysians will suddenly produce a royal race. Truly Carthage will not survive long. There will be lamentation with many groans among the Galatians. A final but greatest disaster will come upon Tenedos. Brazen Sicyon, and you, Corinth, will boast over all with howls, and the flute will sound equally. So I'm going to go ahead and give the rest of this off to you.
Okay.
And you're going to hate this.
Oh.
What's the title, Ruben?
A further prophecy of various disasters. So specific.
Yeah, isn't it?
And this is the last section.
Yeah.
All right. A further prophecy of various disasters. When indeed my spirit stopped its inspired hymn, and the utterance of the great God again rose in my breast and bade me prophecy concerning the earth, woe to the race of Phoenician men and women and all the maritime cities. None of you will come to the sunlight in common light. No longer will there be a number and tribe alive because of the unjust tongue and lawless unholy life which all have carried out, opening an unholy mouth. And they composed terrible words, false and unjust, and stood before God the great King, and they opened their loathsome mouth falsely. Therefore, God will terribly subdue them with afflictions beyond all the earth, and send a bitter fate upon them, burning their cities from the ground. and many foundations. Woe to you, Crete, of many sorrows. To you will come an affliction and fearful, eternal destruction.
Eternal. Wow, okay.
Yes, for this eternal destruction, this is Greek exala paxis for exala paxe. So, okay.
Wait, can I see the spelling real quick? Okay.
The whole earth will again see you smoking, and fire will not leave you forever, but you will burn. Woe to you, Thrace! How you will come to a yoke of slavery when Galatians mingled with Darnanidae ravage Greece with a swoop, then will evil come upon you. You will give to another land, and you will receive nothing.
Yay!
Woe to you,
I love nothing.
Gog and Magog.
Oh, so the root of that word is shaking is to shake violently.
So destruction here is from shaking violently. Strange. Woe to you, Gog and Magog, and to all in turn of the Marsians and Angians. How many evils fate brings upon you? Many, too, upon the sons of Lycians and Mysians and Phrygians. Many peoples of Pamphylians and Lydians will fall, Morians and Ethiopians and strange-speaking peoples.
Strange-speaking peoples.
Yep, Cappadocians and Arabs. Why, indeed, should I proclaim each one according to its fate? For on all peoples, as many as inhabit the earth, will the Most High send a terrible affliction. But when a vast barbarian people comes against the Greeks, it will destroy many heads of chosen men.
So, and it's important to remember that the word barbaros just means like a person who speaks a different language, a foreigner.
Yeah, this is probably a reference to the Roman invasion that led to the capture of Corinth in 146 BC. It is possible that the reference is to the invasion of the Gauls. They will ravage many fat flocks, which belong to mortal men, and herds of horses and mules and loud bellowing oxen. They will burn well-constructed houses lawlessly with fire, and will take many slaves to another land by compulsion, children and broad-girdled women, delicate ones from the chambers, falling forward on tender feet. They will see themselves suffering every terrible outrage and fetters at the hands of strange-speaking enemies, and they will have no one to ward off a war a little or be a helper in life. They will see the enemy enjoying their private possessions and all their wealth. They will tremble beneath the knees. 100 will flee, but one will destroy them all. 5 will stir up grievous wrath, but shamefully coming to grips with each other in terrible war and din of battle, they will cause joy to their enemies, but grief to the Greeks. A yoke of slavery will come upon all Greece. At once, war and pestilence will come upon all. God will make a great bronze heaven on high and cause drought over the whole earth and make the earth iron. But then all mortals will weep terribly for the lack of sowing and plowing, and the one who created heaven and earth will set down much lamented fire on earth. 1/3 of all mankind will survive.
Wow.
And that's the end of our reading for the day.
So it's interesting that
That means tanks. It's just confirmed they knew about tanks. Yeah, right.
Flying spaceships,
Spaceships. They're so smart. They knew it all.
iron deficiency.
yeah, they definitely did not like iron, as was already shown multiple times.
1/3 survive. That's pretty intense.
Yikes.
And it looks like there are some other references to, I don't know if it's to 1/3 survive. I don't remember 1/3 people surviving in any of the texts we've read.
No.
I feel like that would have stood out.
It would have.
So I'm going to check some of these references at least. Yeah, I'm going to check at least okay, maybe you can check one, I'll check another. So there's I'm going to check Zechariah 13:8.
I'll check Ezekiel 5:12.
Okay, yeah, the other reference there is to Revelation, although the I kind of want to know like what they're basing it on. I doubt they would have based this on Revelation in any sense. So not even going to check that at this moment. But I will check Zechariah. Yeah, so Zechariah 13:8. Got it. Okay. So Zechariah 13:8 says, in the whole land... Oh, actually, I was wrong.
Yep. Ezekiel 5:12. A third part of these shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee. And a third part shall fall by sword round about thee. And I will scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them.
Yeah, in the whole land declares the Lord, 2/3 shall be cut off and perish, and 1/3 shall be left alive. And hold on, I'll put this third into the fire and refine them as one refines silver and test them as gold is tested.
Well, in chapter 5, this is a reference to the exile. Like, very obviously so. They're talking about, this is Jerusalem I've set in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her.
Yeah, it would make sense here too, because it's in this is in the second part of Zechariah. So, all right, yeah. I get that. I guess that tracks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Good job, Sybil.
Yeah. Well, that's the show for the day.
Yeah,
if you enjoyed the stream today, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon, where you can be on the show.
Look at this shirt that is being pinned. Here's the thing. So not only is that shirt amazing, but
what page did we stop on?
What page we stopped on? I guess the page was. Oh, those are verses. 370, 374.
Yeah, 374.
If you want
to follow along, that's where we are.
Yeah. So that is the page that we stopped on. I don't know if you have this version specifically. If you have the version, great. Then yeah, we've stopped on page 374. But if you don't, the verses, I can tell you, this is in book 3, and we stopped at 544 today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, so this shirt that you see, it's amazing. First of all, and also, if you want to potentially win that shirt, you can become a patron of $10 or more, and you get entered into a monthly T-shirt giveaway.
You want to support the show in a different way, a more functional way? Well, you can go on our Amazon wish list and find yourself some books to buy for us.
Yeah, links to everything are in the description below. The Amazon wish list has a whole bunch of books you can put on this table, or you can throw into our libraries that we can read for future videos.
Yeah, and there's also super chats.
That is one way.
We accept those.
There's also
finding us on the street and just handing us cash.
I don't know.
That's I guess that's fine. We'd love to meet fans. I think
I'd love to be handed large amounts of cash by adoring fans.
That would make me feel kind of weird, honestly.
Buy a Zora.
I would accept their money.
Right, but I feel weird. Just in, like the fact that somebody not only A, recognizes me, but B, is just wanting to give me money. I don't know if I'd...
Adoring fans, Ruben.
Yeah.
Anyways.
At the Coliseum.
Anyways. Also, Facebook and Twitter, free to follow us on those platforms.
And MilwaukeeAtheists@gmail.com if you want to send in your Lawrence diss tracks.
Your Lawrence diss tracks and your...
Nobody's going to do it.
And you're probably not. And
if you send in a Lawrence diss track, he will diss you back.
Whoa.
He will
Ooh.
produce a diss track about you.
That sounds fun.
That's
You
funny.
you can have a correspondence rap battle.
That does sound fun.
Thank you. Bigger picture.
Bigger picture with the $9.99.
Ah,
Actually, you with this show's favorite guilty pleasure. Hey,
yeah.
thank you, man.
I think we're all
Very much
Jewish
appreciated.
in heritage, so
Yeah.
hello.
Well, I'm glad that we can be
pretty rare.
your guilty pleasure.
Yes.
for watching.
And the thing is, Chris only just recently learned that he's Jewish.
Yeah, I learned it 6 months ago, maybe now.
Yeah.
4 months ago.
So
Something.
like he didn't
Yeah.
grow up
Uh-uh.
like Jewish or anything.
No,
But you
my mom
can-
didn't know she was Jewish before she passed away.
You
Right.
you can abandon the halakha of your fathers and instead follow that of Atheist Sunday School and Friday Apocryphal Podcast.
Well,
if you would like. We do run the Church of Piety.
yeah, that is
Yes,
sure.
the
Yeah,
Church of Piety.
Church of Piety.
Yes.
Um,
Wonderful.
All right.
we love our
organization.
3.14, 159s, and all
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. We have an inner circle, an outer circle, a grand. What are all the things?
Dude, I don't know, dude. I've forgotten entirely.
How many subscribers are we at now? We should probably
26,000, I want to say.
26,000. Okay. Everyone up to 26,000 is officially a bro.
I'm just a bro.
Yeah, a bro. The next tier up to 50,000 is gonna be a dude.
Yeah, wow, you're really running low on ideas.
All
Okay.
right. Well,
Okay.
thanks for watching.
Yes,
Be
thanks for watching.
Inquisitors,
Much-
conquistadors.
Yeah, because that has no connotations to it.
Yep. No connotations whatsoever.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Very much appreciate people stopping by. We got more viewership today than we normally do on our Friday shows.
Gog and Magog, the title.
And
Maybe.
it's gonna keep going up.
Let's
'Cause
hope.
you guys are gonna share this with all of your friends, family, neighbors,
And they'll actually be interested in it.
your church,
Your
synagogue,
conquistadors.
your
Your inquisitors.
mosque,
That too.
Your-
Yeah.
your Buddhist
I guess your synagogue.
Zen centers, your Hindu temples,
Wow. Okay. Anyways, this kind of ran away from us.
your
Thank
Zoroastrian
you.
places of worship.
Thank you everyone for joining us. And we will see you on Sunday for Acts. We're going to be doing the book of Acts. It's Luke part 2.